This is more than anyone can bear, but we will persevere.
We're done running. This is our chance to take back our world. We're not going to lose it a second time.
Half-Life 2 Episode 2. You remember that game? Chances are you do. This is a game that was met with both widespread critical acclaim and an incessant longing for its yet-to-be-released sequel and conclusion. Being the second episode in the Half-Life 2 series, following Episode 1, which in turn followed Half-Life 2, this is a wonderful game and an even better subject for our next work of art. Turning Episode 2 into a singular picture may seem like a difficult task, and in many respects it is, but in times of complication it's never a bad idea to break your objective down into smaller points. For capturing a whole game in one picture, you're going to want to take these 3 basic steps before even picking up that pencil. Number 1. Pick a theme or setting. This game's got lots of themes and a few distinct settings. All you need to do is pick one of them and then you exploit it. For this picture I'm going to be focusing on the barren countryside aspect of Episode 2, particularly the solitary forests that make up the bulk of the game's foundation. Number 2. Choose a subject. A subject can be anything really. A tree, a rock, some oxygen atoms, but to be more relevant I'm going to be focusing on 2 subjects, both pivotal to this game. The first subject is Gordon Freeman, as you all know, the main character of the game. He's a silent behind-the-scenes hero, and I'll be working that aspect of his character into the picture as well, but we'll get to that later. The second subject is the Hunter, a fierce enemy that was a new addition for Episode 2, a perfect subject to use when trying to capture the pure essence of the whole game. And finally, number 3, choose a style. Styles are different for everybody. For this step I suggest you choose whatever you're most comfortable with, or if you are feeling rather adventurous, choose whatever you're most excited to try. As for myself, I wanted to make a concept poster, something that could be quite artistic and utilize a lot of color. This poster is going to be a landscape orientation as opposed to portrait. I believe most British film posters are usually landscape, while American film posters are usually portrait. So I guess today I'm siding with the Brits. Okay, so if you take a little time to formulate those 3 basic steps before approaching any ambitious work of art, chances are it will be easier to complete the task at hand, and it may even be better. Alright, without further ado, let's time-lapse it up, Half-Life 2 Episode 2 style. What I did first is make an outline of Gordon Freeman. Because Gordon is a silent hero and because we never really see him in the game, I wanted him to be as undefined as possible. To do this, I'll make Gordon the silhouette that encases all of the objects in this picture. You'll see what I mean soon. Inside his outline will be the setting and other subjects. Next, I drew up the Hunter. The Hunter has a really cool design. It reminds me of the AT-ST Scout Walkers from Star Wars Episode 6, mixed with the turrets from Portal and Portal 2. It's sleek and menacing at the same time, and that's what I love about it. Probably one of my favorite parts of Episode 2 is at the very end when you get to run over all the Hunters at full speed with your tricked out sports car. Valve really knows how to satisfy their audience. Next up is the foreground and background, which is primarily foliage. The atmosphere of Episode 2 allowed for a new experience from a Half-Life game. No longer did you have to run through buildings and cities. Now you could explore more forested countryside. I thought that was a neat touch. You'll see a lot of trees in this picture, specifically conifers, like pine trees and such. Those are the trees that seem to be the most represented in the game, so I wanted to use those. Didn't want to just add random stuff, you know what I mean? With all these pieces in place, now it's time to color everything in and add some finishing touches. I used a combination of stark black, as you can see in the trees in the foreground, with some subdued shades of green and blue for coloring. I also tried to blur a lot of the final image to give it a more soft tone. For a picture like this, you don't really want it to be too sharp. At least for me, it seems to conflict with the overall experience. And there you have it. After I added the Half-Life 2 logo, this is a finished product and a good way to spend a couple hours after a long, stressful week of school, trust me. Hope you guys like this picture, and I hope you can use some of my tips for future drawings. If you have any questions, Put it in the comments below, email me, whatever suits your fancy. And as always, stay gold.